Hey everybody, welcome to Your Unpaid Therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Your Unpaid Therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
Oh, that's sexy though. I like it.
I'm Valerie Milagros Ortiz.
I don't know.
I am your host, Ali Kona. She's away. Bradford.
This is Your Unpaid Therapist. Shoo-wah, cha-cha.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Your Unpaid Therapist. This is season numero dos. You guys, I am still hella hyped, so excuse the energy or embrace it. But on today's episode, yes, we are talking about traveling, about goals. I'm still coming off that high from going to China for the Great Wall Marathon. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm wearing my Stanzi, if you're looking at a video, a little orange, running jacket, if you will. But before we get into all of that, solo travel, all the things, we're going to do our song of the week. And if you're new to us, new to this season, so last season we did Never Have I Ever's. This season, we're doing a song of the week, song of the moment, however you're feeling, whatever resonates with you. Music is universal. We can all relate and just get moved by it. So that's why we kind of wanted to change it up and do this. So, Alicona, do you want to start with your? Oh, or should I start?
No, I want you to start.
let's
Since
start.
this was your brilliant idea.
I know.
By the way, though, Valerie, when she pitched this idea, had no intention of actually singing the
Never.
song.
Never.
This girl was like, I was just going to say it out loud. I was like, no, that's not fun at all. The
Right.
point is to sound like cats dying and, maybe people will join us in their car. So anyways, proceed.
Exactly. And so the song that apparently this is a theme, and I keep picking songs that are newer or that I don't really know and that maybe y'all don't even know. But that's okay. So this song in particular was actually recommended to me because I did a story on Instagram asking people to give me song suggestions to add to my running playlist. Because if you are a runner or whatever, if you hit the gym and you like music, after a while, especially on long runs, you keep hearing the same songs and it's just kind of nice to hear something different. So I had a few suggestions, and one of my friends, Luciana, recommended this song. And had I never heard it, and when I heard it, I was like, yes, girl. When I heard it in China, I thought about you, Luciana. And I was just hyped. So it's called Freedom by Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar. I'm going to play the chorus a little far so we don't get no copyright infringements, but I'm going to try to sing it. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Freedom. Hold on. Freedom, cut me loose. Freedom, freedom, where are you? 'Cause I need freedom too. I break chains all by myself. Well, let my freedom rot in hell.
Oh.
I'ma keep running 'cause a winner don't quit on themselves.
Hey.
As you know, the main line was, I'ma keep running 'cause a winner don't quit on themselves. Hey. That got me so hyped. And by the way, if you haven't heard, I won first place in the 40 to 45 category for women doing this half marathon, which I was like, what? Yeah,
Yay.
crazy.
First of all, that's freaking amazing. She ain't 40 yet, but that's okay. That's okay.
I know. For all this older folks. But look, and Ali Kona, you and I'm adjusting my headphones here a little bit. I got hot, all that hypeness. Originally I was gonna do this trip by myself, y'all. Because it was a bucket list thing for me. Something once I knew it was a thing. I had always wanted to go to the Great Wall of China. You could see it from space. I'm obsessed with space, and I was like, freak yeah. So then when I heard you could run it, I was like, what? So I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I was supposed to actually do it 2020 and 2019. I was prepping for it. I was actually filming Gabby Duran, and our schedule got flipped. So we were originally filming in the fall. We were then switched to spring, and I couldn't go. Or I was supposed to run in 2019. Anyway, point is, I couldn't go because of the switch. And then the year after that, it was COVID. So I think it was 1 year before I just mentioned.
Mhm.
All that to say, this year was the first time they opened since then. So everybody was super excited. Um, it's not cheap, you know. It's
Mm.
you're traveling across country, you're doing a race, you have tours involved, whatever. And so I was ready to go alone. And of course, my parents, my boyfriend, some of my friends were like, China by yourself, girl.
Oh, please. That ain't
And
nothing
I
but
was
a
like,
G thing.
what'd you say?
I said, "That ain't nothing but a G thing." Like, so?
You know, here's the thing though, and I kind of, so it's hard because I'm thankful for the concern. And yes, you know, US and China, there's some shit going down.
Mm.
S but at this so I had that fight of like ignorance
Mhm.
and stubborn Val. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I have the time, I'm doing it. And of course you look at all the travel advisories online, and you know, I was smart about it.
Yeah.
But in very Araceli Ortiz fashion, she didn't let me go by myself. So my mom joined me, which honestly made it even more epic and memorable. She did a fun run, which by the way was 8.5 kilometers. Um,
Translation to English.
that's
American.
about 5 something miles.
Nice.
Um, incline and deep ass, very steep
Hills.
stairs and
Oh.
hills, but I feel like the hardest part was the cobblestone and like the stairs for my 70 almost 1 year old mother. I mean, it was hard for all the young folks, but
Mhm. That's
it was
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
I want to do all the adventure races. And I was talking to Ali Kona because she has often
Mhm.
done adventure travel alone.
I have.
And we wanted to talk about that because that just, I think that takes a special kind of person.
I mean, I'm just kidding.
I know I do. I just feel like people, one, look down upon it, or two,
Uh,
are too scared
well,
or
okay. Okay.
intimidated. So how
Yes.
long? So okay, when was how about this? How old were you when you first traveled alone, and where did you go?
First I'm gonna rewind and do my song because that's related
Oh
to.
shit, we didn't even get to your
Girl,
song.
she done skip me over. That's
I
okay. I
know,
get it.
I need to put you on blast to do your song.
I don't sing like a canary, so she was just trying to skip it over and save y'all's earballs, but I'm still
No,
gonna
I
break
know.
them.
I want to put
So,
you on blast.
but it's related. It's related,
Yes,
and you'll
let's
hear my
go.
story after that. So I'm gonna butcher it,
I'm
but here we
excited.
go. Oh, so you think you're special? Oh, so you think you're something else? Okay, so you're Brad Pitt. That don't impress me much. Whoa. I could keep going, but I won't. So, anyways,
Got the
um,
moves, but you got the
got the
touch.
touch.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you think you're all right, but that don't keep me warm in the cold, long winter night. I just made that line up. Okay, but that don't
I
impress
love
me
that
much.
song.
Yeah,
This is
it's the reason.
Naya.
I'm gonna say the reason I picked that song, two reasons. One, like I'm on my feminist hype right now because I've been doing so much reading about the history of patriarchy and like really learning to see behaviors, become aware of behaviors. And part of me is like, okay, I can do X, Y, and Z for myself.
Mhm.
What do you bring to the table? And so I discovered this. I mean, I've been on this journey, but Val, you don't know this. So the other week, I went to see a movie by myself, which again, I do lots of stuff solo, but I was like, you know, I paint my nails and everything. And I said, I'm a really good date. Like I showed up on time, a little early. I have my own snacks and I ate before, so I'm a cheap date. And I don't talk in the middle of the movie or text in the middle of it. Like I'm a good date. Um, so that's why that's my song. But going into your question as far as solo travel, it depends on what you consider solo. Like I've gone to countries by myself, but then met up with somebody. And then I've
Mhm.
also taken full vacations by myself. And that first one was when I was 30. I went to New York. I wanted to be Ali Kona Lost in New York. I was inspired by Home Alone 2.
I
And
love
that
it.
was so fun because
Mm.
I couldn't find anybody to go with me. And I was like, well, it's my 30th birthday and I'm not going to not go. so I'll go by myself. And it was awesome. Like I could go at my own pace. I wasn't waiting for anybody. I could ice skate as long as my heart desired without someone nagging at me to leave. Uh,
Right.
like it was a lot of
How
fun.
long did you go? How long was that trip?
I think I was only there for 5 days.
Okay.
But I will say this, my mom, who's a huge worrywart, was like, "Don't take the subway and da 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 da." And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Okay, I won't." The first thing I did is I got on the subway and I was like, "I don't know what my mom is talking about." And I looked over and there was like this homeless guy sleeping there and I was like, "That's okay, whatever." And then I'm looking down and like my shoes are stuck in this like juice and I'm like, "This is gross." And I look over and I
Mhm.
see a used condom. I'm like, "Okay. Okay." And then I was like, "What is that smell?" And I looked at the homeless guy and I was like, "Oh, he smells like urine." And then a few seconds later, I was like, "Oh, wait, that is not juice that I'm stepping in. Damn it!" It was Tinkle.
But
So,
here's the thing, look, and I get so frustrated when people, and I want to say maybe it's people who haven't traveled a lot, but when they're like, "Oh, it's going to be so bad there." I'm like, "It is bad in downtown motherfucking LA. It
okay.
is bad in North motherfucking Hollywood where I used to live." So it's like, every place you go, I don't care how gorgeous and amazing it is, if you are not um aware of your surroundings and paying attention, like Beverly Hills can be a bad place to be. So yes, awareness and being
But
safe.
the same thing with other countries. What I've learned through my travels, because I have been fortunately in a lot of different places, is the news skews things the way they want you to believe. Like this can seem super scary, and you go there. Like I went to Jamaica, and it was 2021, so obviously COVID was still going on, and went there, and it was fine. Like nobody was wearing masks. Everyone was cool. We had to do the COVID test at the hotel,
Sure.
like before and after we left. And I asked the nurse, I was like, "So how many people have tested positive?" And she's like, "Oh, in the last like year, one."
Oh
Oh,
wow.
and then I went home, and because, Google likes to track you, and I had Googled stuff about Jamaica, I kept getting all these news articles. Red zone, high alert, don't go to Jamaica, super dangerous. And I was like, what are they talking about? You know?
Mm.
So that, and I've also gone to Italy, and my friends who live there, their parents knew more about what was happening in our economy and government than we did because their news was so different than ours. And I was like, oh,
So interesting. I love that. All of that. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because I'm like, I don't know who to trust.
yeah,
But getting back to like the traveling and the
please.
goals and for me, Beijing, China doing the Great Wall. If you're new to us, I love fitness. It's something that I grew a love for. I want to say in my 20s. I started running. Like Nike came out with some shoes that it was like before like Apple Watches and stuff like that, where you could put the little chip in your shoe or like
What?
tie it on your shoe, and then that's how you would be able to get your pace and your mileage. And so I remember my parents or Hector, somebody got me those shoes for a birthday or Christmas because I thought it was cool, and then I started just running, and that kind of became a separate random passion of mine. I wasn't in sports growing up. I did dance. But now that I had this new passion and I started working out fitness and seeing all these things that I could do, I did a marathon. Well, yes, actually, that I was going to say a half marathon. No, my very first time doing a marathon was a full. Then I did a triathlon, and then I'm like, what else can I do? And I was thinking about, especially at this age, just the correlation between like mental health and physical health and how important it is, especially as you get older and having like these goals, whatever that is for you. But I had found something and it was really interesting um, because it talked about like the how they correlate. And then it says a good example of how interconnected your brain and body are is the set of mental and physical changes that happen during the menstrual cycle.
Mm.
More and more research is showing that hormonal shifts throughout the menstrual cycle impact far more than just the reproductive system. I thought that was interesting because it talks about the complex interaction between physical changes and mental health involved in the interaction of estrogen and dopamine, et cetera, et cetera. But I thought that was a good example because like it's so true. Like obviously during your menstrual, and us women can relate. It's just like there's so many changes everywhere in all the places. Mentally, you're feeling crazy or tired or emotional. Physically, you're feeling bloated and backaches or headaches, whatever. So I just it just something super important to, at least for me,
Mhm.
um incorporate into my daily life and daily habits, and having these physical goals
Mhm.
keep me accountable every day on attaining, like, a 30-minute workout today, um to then attain the bigger physical goal, which again aligns all the mental,
Mhm.
which is why and how I got all the way to China to
Yeah.
do this.
Way to bring it back.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Awesome. So outside of like training, because we actually haven't had a chance to like super dive deep into your trip. We were saving that for in person. But I mean, I would love to hear about like what about it was the ultimate high? Like outside of the race, the breathtaking thing, like why should somebody go out of their comfort zone and go see something that they, you know?
Yeah, I the ultimate high, other than experiencing all that stuff with my mom, at least for me, was just connecting with all these other people from like different parts of the world who were all kinds of different ages, and everybody had a similar love for either travel or
Mhm.
running, or challenges. And that, like, I get so excited when I like get around like-minded people. Like I don't even care. And some of them, like one a cute mom and daughter duo. The mom didn't speak English; they're Polish, and
Mhm.
so she would be so cute because very Puerto Rican. Like she would just start talking and like super animated, and like we didn't know what each other was saying. She didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know what she was saying, but you could just tell, like, yes, girl, me too. Ooh, them stairs. And just that, like that community, those connections. And I am all about community and just feeding off of energy of people who are like me or better than me. I was crazy inspired. I haven't told you this yet.
Mhm.
Um, to do an Ironman. I
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yes. Do you want to do it? Would you do
Totally.
it? So I
Totally.
would only do a half Ironman first because I think, yeah, I think to save my body
Uh-huh.
and my knees, I half Ironman would be like the goal. But I was like looking at some of these people and talking to them, and I'm like, oh, you've done an Ironman? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I think if you've done an Ironman, I can do an Ironman. Um, just seeing like their their physique and like their age, and I'm like, okay, like we look pretty similar. Like I think I could do this, and they were hyping me up, like, yes, you're gonna do it. So I'm like, yes, doing an Ironman.
I did a okay, so you guys, if you saw the episode with Freddie Shepherd, he is my co-host. We've done some stuff together, and he was like, "Hey, there's something called the Badass Dash happening in Vegas, which is the equivalent of like a Tough Mudder. Do you want to do
Mhm.
it? I can get you in, like I can waive your admission fee." And I was like, "Okay." Did not train at all. Zero. No training. Just happened to be in
Hold on,
Vegas.
can I
Yeah.
pause? Can I
Huh?
pause?
Yeah.
Because Ali Kona said she didn't train for this, but Ali Kona trains for life every day. Like she's jumping off beams and lifting heavy weights or tumbling another wrestler out of the ring. Like, I just want to put some context because somebody in Montana is going to be like, "Well, Ali Kona didn't train for the Tough Mudder. You are not the same. No offense to you, but if you're not doing everything that she's doing, you're
Fair,
not equal."
fair, fair. But I show up not knowing what to expect, and it is like there's obstacles and all
So
sorts of stuff.
fun.
And so I show up and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. And you start in different intervals, so you don't know who's first, who's second, or whatever. I'm
Okay.
just going for going. And okay, because I'm klutzy. Towards the end of the race, my ass was running through some big ass like monster truck tires, and I sure did fall over and twist my ankle. And I was like, "Oh, that hurt." Kept on going, whatever. By the way, that was my first ankle sprain that led to like
Oh
three others,
no.
but that's okay. Still finished the race, whatever. And the same thing that happened to you, Val. I went home for shiggles and I checked the website and I was like, "What the fuck?" Sorry. I finished. I think I was like fourth But still, I was like the fourth
That's
out of 600 people and was like, "Oh,
amazing.
damn."
Imagine if I was really focused.
If I
Yeah.
trained, I know. I was like, "Dang." Like, if I knew I was somewhere close to the top, I probably would have ran harder or faster, but I was
Yes.
just like just doing,
Having fun. Yeah.
and falling apparently. But anyway, if I hadn't have falled, digress. But I do want to get back to like the travel thing because I think it's so important. It's so crazy is I don't know if the statistics have changed, but back in the day when I had looked at it, it was something stupid like Americans were like the one country that had the least amount of people with passports prior to like when you had to get a passport for like little stuff. But Europeans are really great about it. We're not. And
Yes.
so it's like I want us to be able to talk about these adventures and share some really awesome ones in hopes that whoever is listening is like, that sounds dope. Like maybe I am
Yes.
missing out because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
this is my sign to book that trip.
Exactly.
And there's that one quote. Oh, maybe I'll mess it up, but it's travel is the one thing that you'll spend money on that MS. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up while we talk. But it's one of my favorite quotes. Clearly, um, but no, I think it's yeah. You just come back with so much.
Yeah.
It's so fulfilling, and I just
Well, and you okay, because you just did the Great Wall, right? I
yeah.
remember the first time I ever went to Rome and I saw the Colosseum and it was like, because all you think about is the fact that this was made pre like, amazing construction machinery and like what? It's gigantic. And so it's like
Mhm.
so important to see stuff like that, to be outside of yourself and experience just
And different cultures. Like when I went to
yeah.
Morocco and like walking around their little cities, it was, I mean, it's so eye opening and like shocking and awesome as hell. Like
Mhm.
Egypt. I went to Egypt. I saw the pyramids. That
That's
was
dope.
like, so the quote, y'all,
She found it.
I found it. Travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer.
Ooh.
And I just ever the first time I read that, I was like, "Yes, it is." Because you just feel so fulfilled. You learn so much about yourself. You're forced out of your comfort zone, which is a big one. China, I don't eat a lot of rice. I like rice. I'm, Puerto Rican, but there wasn't a lot of alternatives, and so that was the biggest thing I was scared of was the food. Um,
Yeah, but Val, I'm gonna cut you off real quick because it's so crazy how honestly it's our food. Like, not to like spin the conversation, but it's all the chemicals in our food because I've actually seen people talk about, like scientists, like our food makes us inflamed. That's why
yeah,
you can go to another country and lose weight, and you're like, huh? Like in Italy, same thing in China. Not to cut you off, but like all they eat is pasta. Everybody is thin. And I asked my friend who grew up there, and he's like, "Oh, it's just because we've grown up on it." I'm like, "Nah, man. I think there's like something different about your food because it doesn't
yeah.
make sense that everybody is so dang thin and we eat some pasta and it's like,
Yeah.
you know."
I went to Vietnam and same idea as China, like they eat so much rice, but they're like the rice is like they just cropped it, they just mined it, they just spun it in the basket. I did this adventure thing where um we stayed at a village and we learned how to make rice and you take the brown out of it, which I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
isn't the
that's bad.
brown supposed to be
Yeah,
healthier?"
yeah.
Um so
Wait,
yeah,
pause. How do you take brown out of rice?
that's what I'm thinking. I was trying to remember what they had us do. And it was whatever they did, it was like in a basket type thing, but harder than a basket. And it was just like mixing it and and the little husk thing
Mhm.
like would come out. I don't know. This is a long
Hmm.
time ago. But it was just so cool. And China, yes. And so, it was funny because we like our desserts.
Yeah.
Um they don't do dessert. They don't do American desserts. Their desserts and there was never dessert unless they were really trying to Americanize the meal. It
What?
was always like watermelon. That was like what they would like serve at the end of the meal. And I was like,
Wah,
"Wah,
wah, wah.
wah." Yeah,
Dang.
totally. Luckily, David got my mom and I these Cease Candy chocolates that we took
Uh-huh.
because we left on Mother's Day. So it was a really cute um, gift. And so we could take it to the trip because he knows
Yeah.
I like my candy,
Chocolate.
my dessert.
Yeah.
But
Dude,
yeah, all that to say, everything that you just said, like how we eat, not the same.
but okay, the reverse of that, second time I went to Italy. And by the way, we're not trying to be bougie and be like, I was here and I was here. It's not even that. It's like there's like some really funny stuff that happens when you go out of the country. But I stayed with a family, and for breakfast, we had cookies. And I was like, wait, hold on, what? They're like, oh, like
Yeah.
biscotti, but it's not biscotti. It's like legit cookies. And we're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And then dinner was literally 7 courses. And the way that it happened is like, you had your
Love it.
appetizer or what have you, and then they brought out the pasta. So I'm like, oh, okay, pasta. And then after that, they gave us salad. And I was like, wait, what's happening? And then after the salad was the main course. I was like, wait, there's more. And then there was like homemade
This is it.
tiramisu. I was like, Jesus, y'all eat so much food. Oh my God.
Yeah. They take their time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I mean, but I wonder because and I don't know if this is just like an ignorant tourist thing, but in Beijing, everybody's on a bike.
mhm,
And I want to say in Italy, there was I feel like so many people walking and stuff. So
mhm.
obviously in Vietnam, there was a lot of, in that village, because that's where we mainly stayed, they're doing all the things for themselves. So that makes sense. But, is it the quality of the food? Is it their genetics? Is it the movement that they do, their physical and mental wellness?
Both.
Is it
I
all of
think it's
it?
all, but I'm gonna share a little secret with you. It's gonna upset you guys, everybody. Same thing, talking to somebody very credible who lives in Idaho, where they grow a lot of grains, soy. I'm vegan.
Mhm.
Um, and it's a big thing right now because apparently, in order to get your farming license, you have to purchase seeds from the government. You cannot independently get your seeds anywhere else, and all the government seeds are GMO. And so he's like, it's like a really big deal right now. Like farmers are trying to fight it, they can't. And I'm just like, that is so scary and crazy because like, what if I don't want to eat that? But the only thing available to me in the store is these like genetically modified things that someone else created. And I don't know.
Mm,
Anyways,
that's so
so
interesting. I hadn't heard that. Alicona sends me all these like stories and memes and um research and stuff because she's vegan. If you're new to the show, and just I mean that's a whole other episode
yeah.
truly on just like our food and how it's made or not made or killed or blah. But
Mhm.
back to just the physical, mental. And I wanted to ask you this, like, um how how do you think that traveling outside or even inside the country, traveling in general, like is that something that you like prioritize? Like are you, because some families are like, we're going to take that one trip a year, blah, that one vacation. Like how do you incorporate that into your life with everything that you do? Like
It's a non-negotiable.
Mhm.
I mean, look, to be fair, I was traveling when I was in diapers. My family was from Hawaii, so, like, I was constantly being shipped off to my grandparents' house. But my mom had worked for the airlines, so it's like we
Mm.
were always going places. And then I became a homebody, but, digress. Point is, when I got into college and the real travel bug hit me, the one where I was like, "I wanna go to a different country every single year of my life," and I was that person that I don't need an expensive purse. Like, yeah, that's cool, but it may not be in season next year. So instead of spending $300 on a handbag, that's going to
And
go
not
towards my
even, that's
vacation.
a cheap one. Like
Oh,
the
that's it.
designer
Oh,
ones, they're over a grand.
oh, see, and that tells you how much I know about purses.
Yeah, it's
But the point
crazy.
is, like, yeah, okay, dress nice, whatever. But at that point in my life, like I said, I was cutting up stuff, making my own clothes, and
Mhm.
all my friends they were buying all the expensive stuff, and I was like, that's cool. I'm going to Australia. Like, that's never gonna expire. That's memories I'm gonna
Yeah.
have for the rest of my life. And so it's like once I had that one taste, I take it back. The first time I ever went out of the country, I was like, what is happening? I went to France and everything felt so backwards because it's just different. And I was like,
Mhm.
I don't like this at
What do you
all.
mean? Oh, you didn't like it. Okay.
No, just everything was so different from the way people drove to, sorry, I'm gonna back my camera up, but from the way people drove to the way that people just in general, it was so different. And I thought everyone was so ass backwards. Came home. The next year I had gone to Italy. And the more I went out of the country, the more I was like, oh, I think it's us.
Mm.
I think we're the ones that are backwards. And then I just got a thirst for it, like just
Yeah.
different climates, different sceneries, different, like you said, culture and people. And like, you don't realize how much you do have. Like, it's one thing to see it on TV, and sure, you have the 4K camera and it's beautiful. But when you're in the ocean and you've got like a lionfish that's swimming at you or anything, like
Mhm.
when you see it in its natural habitat, it's the most breathtaking experience that you can't put money on, you know?
Yeah.
So I just got lost in the question you asked.
No, but I mean, I love it. I was originally was just curious as like when it all started.
Oh, okay.
But with all that said, I think that and even on this last trip for me and experiencing that with my mom, it was like one of those things that like I was and I got a little much. I was constantly thinking like I'm never gonna come back to China with my mom. I don't know if I want to go to Beijing again. I mean, David has always wanted this week see the Great Wall, so possibly. But just there's so many moments where I was just soaking in the heaviness and the gratitude that I felt of just being there and at that moment, having these experiences because I knew I kept replaying it. Like I'm gonna look back at these pictures one day and be like, thank God, I'm so glad we did this. I'm so glad I did this. And like as I have video, I haven't posted it, but as I was on the wall and I'm like looking behind me and I'm like videotaping and I'm just like, oh my God, like this is real. Like I'm here. Like I did it. I'm here. So I just encourage you, even if this here is down the block to your favorite beach or in the woods somewhere camping, like it doesn't, or some beautiful, like whatever, do that, make that trip, make that commitment to yourself. That you don't get that kind of stuff back. And it is incredibly priceless. And if you don't have the people who share that same passion with you, go alone.
Yes. Yes.
Do it alone.
Let me, okay, just to like spice it up and make it fun, because I'm gonna go into a trip I did alone. I would love to know some of your absolute travel fails. Like just like you can laugh at it now, but in
Oh
the moment
man.
you were like, why?
Travel
Yeah.
fail?
I've got several. I'll share one with you
Yeah,
though.
go with
And
it
you
because
think,
I
okay,
don't know what that means. Like
okay.
when you miss the plane, like I don't know.
Mm-mm,
What does that mean?
mm-mm.
Okay.
Okay, so one, I'm gonna share. If I can think of three, I'll think of three. I've got lots. First, so I was gonna go to the Dominican. I don't even know why I got it in my brain that I wanted to go, but a lot of my trips are honestly inspired by something I see on TV, and I'm like, I want to do that. Like the
Yes.
talented Mr. Ripley took place in Italy, and that's why I was like, I know nothing about this place, but I'm gonna go. So the Dominican, I was like, I'm gonna go. It's gonna be amazing. And I got no one could go, so I went by myself, all inclusive. It's fine. And the night before, my ass went and took a parkour class. Not out of the ordinary. However, my shoe was not tied tight. Ran
I,
up a wall. You heard that correctly. Ran up a wall. My shoe stuck to the wall, but my foot kept moving. And because the shoe was loose, it slid out. And when it slid, it tore the arch of my foot.
ah.
And I was like, oh. And I had to take a flight the next day to the Dominican. And I was like, well, I'm still going on my trip, you know?
Right.
And so I was there. By the end of my trip, literally everyone at the hotel that worked there knew me because I was the girl that hopped on one foot. Like I didn't have a crutch. I didn't have anything. I just like I said, woke up the next morning and went literally on one foot doot, 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 to the beach, to the restaurant. Went on some adventures and was like, it's cool. We're in water. I'll be fine. But
Oh
so that was a
no.
fail.
Oh.
Um, Another one, and I think I shared this with you guys on another, like a Never Have I Ever, but I went to a deserted beach in Panama with a guide, but still, and ran out. And I had this granny cap on that I bought on the internet.
Oh,
And this was when
yes.
buying stuff, yeah, on the internet was brand new. So I'll give a quick synopsis since you guys know the story. But it had the flowers on it and stuff, like from the 1950s, and I thought I was so cute. So I like ran into the water and I was swimming, and then there was no ground. I was like, wait, what's happening? It's fine. I'll just do a few, whatever. And I have my mascara on because, I don't go anywhere without makeup. And the waves start like hitting me in the back of the head, and my mascara is running in my eyes. And I'm like, I can't see. And the guide on the beach is like, looking at me like squinting, is she okay? And he waves at me and I'm like, thumbs up. It's fine. I work out. I do P90X. I can make it back to shore. So I'm like, like trying to get back to shore. And like 10 minutes later, still in the same exact place, could not get out of wherever I was. And finally, he walked over like 5 feet to my right and yanked me out. And he's like, you swim into the worst riptide on the island. You should have just let it take you out. It would have brought you back. I was like, what? No. So that's fail 2. I'll let you go. I mean, like I said, I've literally had a fail on almost every
Oh my
single trip.
gosh.
But hey, I made it back.
I can't really think of any fails. I mean, like the as you said that the only thing I could think of was when I went to Marrakesh, and the way they dress is super like all covered up, and it was hot. It was so hot. But I wore some shorts that weren't even like booty shorts, like kind of like over your knee loose kind of shorts with like a tank top covered up, like no cleavage, no nothing. But I remember that my friend's boyfriend at the time, um, he was like, "Yo, they keep looking at you like you're crazy." Like, the disrespect,
She got a
or
kneecap showing y'all.
I know, and it was so funny because Alicona, you know me, I wouldn't be caught dead with no booty shorts, even in the U.S. So it was just so interesting how just like even the calves out and toes out and stuff like that is a
Big
fail. And I
deal.
mean, there was other people, so it wasn't like I was just
The only.
blatantly disrespecting. And obviously, any place that people had their heads covered and blah blah blah, we did that.
So
Um,
I want to ask you though, Val, because like I always wonder about that. I'm such a defiant person, and obviously you don't go into another country and disrespect people, but I feel like because I always want to do it in Marrakesh, but I just feel like it would be very hard for me to be okay to be in a society where women don't have that equal right to like have their hair out, like it'd be
yeah,
hard for me to
sure.
not want to tell some dude off like, you misogynistic butthole. But so it's like, were you
Right.
feeling a mixture of emotions or it just didn't even like whatever?
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean at the same time, um I am in their home, and so obviously I didn't wear like a smock, and like I didn't have like my hair out or up or covered or whatever. Um but I did what was most comfortable for me, but still respecting them. Obviously, it was still off enough to get looks, but I think mainly because of safety, and like I don't ever want to call in general, I'm not the want to call too much attention to myself, but like especially in those kind of countries or
Mm,
places where I'm like, I don't know what they do to people who they feel disrespect them, you
mhm,
know?
mhm.
And I don't want to find out. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a slippery slope where it's like, out of respect, I'm gonna do. And in certain places, the places where you cover your head and stuff like that are like holy places, so that like,
Yeah.
you respect.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, there are churches in Italy. I remember going in a tank top and they're like, nope, you can't come in here.
Cover
You
your
don't have sleeves
shoulders,
on.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that reminds me. I gotta share a story with you. It's not a fail, but it was like one of those like what the. So I go to this Duomo it's church, right, in this small city in northern Italy, and as we're going in, they've got different things on display, and one it's like supposedly the robe that some man was dug up, like, and he was wearing. He was a saint, and they dug him up out of the earth. Why people dig people up after they died, I don't know, but they had his little tattered robe on display in a glass case. And then you go to the back of the church and it's all gold goblets and treasure and la 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 behind a, again, glass case. I was like, oh, this is so pretty. And then there was this cup and it had this like black thing in it that was fuzzy, like a caterpillar, but about the size of a small palm of your hand, right? Small. But I was like, what is that? That's random. Went home being my friend's house, talked to his father, and was like, yeah, I saw this thing. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's the saint, whatever the hell his name is. And he was known for blessing people with his words, like curing them of their illness by praying for them or whatever. And so his like tongue was the only thing that was preserved when they dug him up, and they felt that's because he was healing people with his words. And so it was his tongue.
Ew.
I was like, oh God. So yeah,
Wow.
go travel, people. The things you'll see.
I know. I was just thinking. I was like, see, and that's why, like, learning all these things and like even like looking at like the mummies and mummification and things that just people did back in the day, and like just all the random culture, like even going in Marrakesh. Like I remember in this market, like there was a big camel head at the market, and I was like, "Bruh," and a pig head, and I've seen pig heads before though, but it was like a pig head, a camel head, and a cow head. You would have died. You would have, and like flies everywhere, of course.
Wow.
But it's their way of showing that their market has real meat. Like it's the actual animal. I was like,
Nope. I'm good.
yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Walking right along.
Oh, I have a travel tip for people. Hold on.
Give us a travel tip before
I'm gonna
we
give
head
you
out
guys
into
some
our-
travel tips, okay? So because again, Europe is an older country, and I don't know if this is like surrounding countries, but again, I keep referring to Italy because I've just gone back quite a few times. But
I want to go to Italy again.
I'll go with you, girl. Don't play. We got places to stay. I got friends I know. But anyway, so my friends took me out with another girlfriend from America, and we're like, I gotta go to the bathroom. We walked into this bathroom, and I think you've experienced this before. There was this porcelain hole in the ground with two little like grips for your feet on either side of the hole. And I was like, oh, this must be a men's bathroom. Hold on, And so we looked, and there's the lady with the dress, but we went into the men's bathroom thinking it's a reverse. No, same thing. So we walked out, and I told my friend Paolo, I was like, Paolo, we need another bathroom. He's like, it's okay. We need another bathroom. Okay. We went to like 5 different bars, and by the 5th or 6th one, they were like, what's wrong? I'm like, they are holes in the ground. He's like, yeah, that's a bathroom. I'm like, no. And then we went to the discotheque at night, all these women in these beautiful dresses and stilettos waiting in this long ass line. And I'm like, it's got to be a regular bathroom. Like, there's just no fucking way. Go in, get into the stall, the hole. And I was like,
yes, ma'am.
Like, how? But how? Like in these shoes and like you're squatting?
Yes. Ugh. That's how it was in China as well. And what the crazy part to me too was, and I took a picture of it, there was like a little QR code in the bathroom where you could scan it to get your toilet paper. So there wasn't toilet paper. So not only are you hovering and you don't have toilet paper. So, and we had done research, so I knew about this before I went. So my mom and I traveled with like the wet wipes and stuff like that. But I was just like, this is so crazy. And like when I tell you, because Aracelis and Valerie were, kind of clean freaks, that the shoes that I wore in China, because of that alone, did not come into my house. Like them things got disinfected because it was like, I mean, I don't wear shoes in my house already.
Yeah, right.
But like just the thought of just like all those holes and piss and shit that we were standing on.
I got you one better. So we went to a vineyard, and there was a winding road. Y'all, I can't sit in the back seat of any car. Never, ever. I get car sick. So I got car sick. And we're again, classy vineyard. And I'm like, I think I'm going to throw up. Go to the bathroom, and it's a fucking hole. And I'm like, God. So I'm like crouching on my knees on the ground over this.
That's
hole.
horrible. The fact that you even got on your knees, like what? Like I would have been.
Travel the world, guys. Or
right.
the first time Like the first time, huh?
You're
Oh.
like travel the world, go
Yes.
squat in holes.
Right. The first time I went, and maybe things have changed because the very first time I went out of the country was back in 2002. Did not know you had to pay to go to the bathroom in Europe or pay to get toilet paper. Like the bathroom's free, but you got to pay for the toilet paper or you got to pay to get into the bathroom. And so there were these like sliding glass doors, not uncommon. Like you put the money in, the glass doors like slide open and you walk through. I didn't know that. The lady before me paid. I didn't know that. I just thought they were automatic doors. So she walked through. I walked in. The doors went zzz, 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 and like we're closing on me. I was like, I don't know. What to I was so embarrassed. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta pay. Okay,
That
my
was
bad.
hilarious. It's like
Thief,
like
thief.
policeman.
Right? Intruder.
My gosh.
Oh.
How funny. I love it. Man, this was fun. I hope that y'all listening or watching laughed. I hope you were inspired to do some physical amazing challenges,
Yes.
to travel and or do anything that you've been wanting to do alone if you don't have anybody to find to go with you. And with that said, what we're starting this season is we're ending each episode with a what if.
Okay, so our what if is basically normally we what if the worst of the worst, right? Like you have anxiety over a big speech at work or whatever, you have to do a presentation, you're like, oh my God, like what if I forget the words? Or what if I have body odor? Or I don't know, I giggle and I fart, or what happens? Oh my God. And so instead, to ease your mind, I wanted to bring up something you're thinking about this week. And what if, but let's give it the best possible outcome. Like, what if I crush it? What if everybody gives me a standing applause? What if I am offered a promotion? Or like, what if my boss asks me out on a date? Like, who knows? So what is your this week's what if, Val?
So it's going to go right along with what we've been talking about, and it's not necessarily for this week, but what if I start training for half Ironman and it goes amazing and I do the Ironman and I win first place and I get a trophy and my body feels amazing and I'm inspired to do a full Ironman.
Hey, I love your what if. I love it. It's going to happen.
Yes.
So my what if is I'll try to keep it as brief as possible, but some of you guys know that I'm always trying to create my own opportunities as an actor, performer, and a lot of times it's led me to behind the scenes stuff, which has caused some frustration on my end. So I've done some writing, and somebody approached me and asked me to write a movie about Johnny Carson, and I was like, well, I don't know, that's not my wheelhouse, but I'm gonna spin it and be like, well, what if, right? What if it does create an awesome opportunity? Like this person has an amazing agent and they happen to just drop the fact that they knew Ryan Gosling. So I'm like, okay, well, what if what if he plays Johnny Carson? Like, what if I get to meet him? And what if he has hot friends? I don't know. So what if this is actually a good opportunity, even though I'm over here like me. Like, don't do that, Ali Kona. Like, what if? So that's it.
Yes, I love it. So we encourage you right now, wherever you're listening or watching, to think of your what if and think about the best, most possible outcome that can come from that. And then make it happen. Like always, we thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, joining the Patreon, all the things. And we look forward to bringing you more of your unpaid therapist.
That's right, y'all. Thank you. We love you. Goodbye.
Adios.
Bon voyage.